The point of stillness. That is the point.
How can I possibly work with this nonsense?
You have no idea of the agony that my tribe suffered because of the Order. What is that noise?
Shh. The cloister bell. There is something seriously wrong with the TARDIS, Leela.
Ah! No! Doctor! Doctor!
Quiet, Leela!
Stop it!
You must do your penance, Leela.
No!
How did you get into my TARDIS?
Your TARDIS?
Yes, my... No! Life, the universe, everything we have ever known will be destroyed, ruined. Eternity, threatened, existence, questioned. We can't...
Hi everyone, TARDIS Guy 123 here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the penultimate story of Series 3 of the Fourth Doctor Adventures, and that is The Abandoned. So, yeah, we've just come off of Destroy the Infinite, which, if you saw my review of that, I thought it was incredible, and, it was pretty hard to follow it up, and I'm afraid this didn't do a very good job. I'd even go so far as to say that it's my least favourite of Series 3, which is odd that it just followed the best. So there's some good stuff in this, I must admit. I mean, it's written by Louise Jameson, who plays Leela, who is my favourite companion. So it's her first, not her first writing thing, but her first writing thing for Doctor Who, and there's a lot of good ideas on display. I think quite a few, like the idea of the imaginary friends and whatnot. I won't go too in depth. Sorry, that was a bit of a spoiler, but yeah, it's a very odd adventure. I think. I guess there are some people who like it, but it's not kind of like straightforward. There's a lot of odd stuff going on, and there are some quite annoying characters at times. Who are basically just laughing all the time. They can get a bit annoying, I'm afraid. And then the resolution to it doesn't make much sense either. It all gets a bit out of hand. I don't really understand it that much. I might have to listen to it again sometime, see if I can take it all in. But to be honest, it was just too much of a mix match, too bland. I think too average. It's one of those stories that is so average that you just don't like it because there's nothing to go off on it. It's not terrible. It's just got not much to talk about in it without going into spoilers too much. There is some nice scenes between Tom Baker and Louise Jameson, and this is basically kind of like the summary of the arc of this series with Leela's father. You don't get much of that beyond this point in Saigon Hunt. Yeah, it did kind of reach that. I think it all came to a head in what's it called? I've completely forgotten what the evil one. That was it. Sorry, I don't know why that slipped my mind. But yeah, it all kind of like came to a head in Evil One. Then has been brought up a bit before that and brought up a bit after that. But that was the main Leela and Leela's dad, kind of like that part of the story up. But it's any loose ends from that are basically wrapped up here, and to be honest, they were wrapped up well, I guess. There are some stuff. There's just so much stuff in there that I'm not really too keen on. It's a bit like the Mind Robber in places, but at the same time, I wasn't a big fan of the Mind Robber, I must admit. But the Crooked Man, which was also a bit like Mind Robber, was much better. But this one, I'm afraid, too bland, too average. It sits right in the middle, I think. So 5 out of 10 for this one. My least favourite of Series 3, I'd probably say. So yeah, now that was a rather quick review because there's some other stuff I want to talk about, and that is Big Finish has announced quite a lot of the main range releases for next year. They've kind of like given us some details on them, and even into 2016, which is odd. But basically, the year starts off with a trilogy of stories based with the Fifth Doctor, Nyssa, and Tegan. And if you don't want to know anything about these stories, then you could tune out now. But you know, they've given us a little bit of detail like the synopsis, so it's not going to be any huge spoilers. But basically, it's the Doctor, Tegan, Nyssa, and Turlo in East Space, returning to East Space. And you got one going back to Alzarius, and then you got another couple doing other stuff in East Space. And then they probably will escape at the end of the trilogy, unless they plan to continue that story arc in another trilogy. But then we have, as of course we're on the approach to the 200th release in the main range, then we have a trilogy of stories with one story from the 7th Doctor, the Defectors, which starts it off, then another story from the 6th Doctor, Last of the Cybermen, which I'm really looking forward to, so that's supposed to go into the cyber wars and whatnot. I'm not sure what version of the Cybermen they're going to use. Hopefully it's the Tomb of the Cybermen version, but you know, they might go for the Invasion version, which is fine as well. But we'll have to see on that one. And then we have the Secret History, which looks a bit interesting, and that's going to be the 200th release itself. No news on companions for those stories. They might not even have companions. We'll just have to see. Then moving on from that, we have another trilogy, this time with the 7th Doctor and Mel. So, and by the looks of the descriptions, it seems to be going back to that season 24 style, which, you know, if you like that stuff, then it probably will interest you quite a bit. And, you know, there are some intriguing ideas in there. And I've heard that Big Finish's, whatchamacallit, I've completely forgotten a word now. Basically, kind of like, made Mel better. Or I haven't actually seen any of Mel's stories on TVs. I've seen clips, but you know, I'll have to see on that one. Then we have another trilogy, which is moving towards the end of the year now, and that features the 6th Doctor. No companion announced yet, but I'm assuming because the first story is at Bletchley Park, and because you know the 6th Doctor's, in fact, no, I won't say anything, but you know, they could be introducing a new companion in this one, maybe a Codebreaker, because I'm quite big on the Bletchley Park stuff, but you never know, they might not do. We'll have to see what they do. I quite like World War II. It's one of my favourite periods of history, but we'll have to see where they go with that. I'm not sure what they have planned. Maybe they'll announce a companion a bit later. And then we have an unnamed December release. No news on what Doctor that is. And then finally, we have 2016, the trilogy starting off that year, which is the 5th Doctor, Nyssa, and Tegan. Now, I'm not sure if it's just them three, or if they're going to announce either Turlo or Adric at a later date, or maybe it will just be them three, because they did travel together in the TARDIS, as that TARDIS team for a while. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But nevertheless, it's some rather interesting news, and you know, I think it's going to be a good year for Big Finish, especially Last of the Cybermen. That one has intrigued me quite a bit. So I think that's basically all. The Abandoned itself, not the most exciting of stories. You know, I think I wouldn't recommend picking this one up individually. You know, I personally recommend getting the series free as a subscription, because you'll save money that way. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching this review, everyone, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.